Now then, welcome to the latest instalment of RedArmy TV. With me, we've got Caroline Walker from the Middlesbrough Supporters Forum. Welcome back.
Thank you, good evening.
And Phil, he who chatters on a Monday on RedArmy Social. Welcome to the Wednesday thing, mate.
Thank you very much.
Good on you. And I'm just playing with the old phone here to get your messages, which you can send in to us as we do the show here live at Dickens, as we do week in, week out, and thanks to them for giving us the room. International break, it's really boring international weeks. You watch that team wearing white in the main, not really a red and white performance. But I suppose Garrett's there, isn't he? And we had young Marcus Tavernier involved in training with the squad. Do you get a bit more interested with England when there's Borough involvement?
When there's Borough involvement, obviously, yes, but to be perfectly frank, I've been more interested in other teams, Bosnia, Ireland, where we've actually had some Borough representation, because I love to watch a Borough player in an international shirt. One day maybe we'll watch a Borough player in an England shirt, but yeah, I prefer the other ones, to be perfectly honest, because you've got more connection and more interest.
Yeah, we've got the list here. Mo Besic for Bosnia, obviously Saville and McNair, Northern Ireland, Randolph, Republic of Ireland, Braithwaite, Denmark. We'll talk about him in a sec as well. And even Britt getting his second cap for the Democratic Republic of Congo. Do you keep an eye on international stuff, Phil, or is it like just a week off Borough?
Yeah, I think it's more a week off Borough. I don't think anybody wants to see an international break once the season started, especially with how well we've started the campaign.
Particularly so early in the season.
Yeah, that's it. And typically we don't do well at the start, and the one occasion that we have done very well, I think this break's turned up and sort of put the wind out of us a little bit as fans. But you know, like Caroline said, we've had representation at international level this last week, so.
We'll come back to that very shortly, but a couple of evening nows. Val, hiya Val, Barry's with us, Stu Wallace, now then, great Teesside welcome. Tony's with us, there's lots. Stu, is it a haircut week, lads? You're looking very trim and smart. Get your haircut.
I haven't, I just haven't done anything with it.
That's what it is, it's human grease that's keeping it flat. Yes, I got my barnet cropped. I was down at Root Grooming in Yarm yesterday, went in to book an appointment and they went, well, we'll do you now because we've had a cancellation. So yeah, I've been groomed, I've been sheared. International break, Caroline, useful or not when Borough's flying high?
Not for the team, no, not for Middlesbrough, definitely not. We've lost some momentum, we've had players going out who haven't obviously been training and working with the rest of their squad. We've had the risk of injuries when we've not got the biggest squad. So the thought of an injury to a key player, an international player. So no, and I think so early in the season when we've only played a handful of games, and there's another one coming up soon. You know, what's it all about? The Europa Nations League? No, thank you. Not for me.
Yeah, it's instead of friendlies, isn't it? What do you make of international breaks as far as the club's concerned, as far as the borough's concerned?
Do you know what, had we not had so much representation this time round, I don't think I'd have been bothered either way. I think the break's come at a good time. We've just come off at the back of an extraordinary 0-0 with Leeds, who are performing way higher than what I think they expected this season anyway. We've managed to take points off West Brom. We managed to pull a point back against Millwall. I think, like Caroline said, the only thing for me is injury. We've got 5 players there that have represented in a squad of 11, and any one of those 5 that have played this last week, any one of them gets injured, and I think we suffer as a team a lot more.
We've not heard of any injuries, have we?
We've not heard of anything, no. We're keeping everything crossed that they all come back to training in the morning.
Stu Wallace makes a point. I enjoyed watching McNair and Saville play for Northern Ireland. So yeah, I mean, it has its pluses, gives us a chance to breathe and dream more of keeping this run going, but then at the same time, obviously, it does interfere. Let's talk Braithwaite. He's one who obviously was involved after they put the pool players out in the first game. It's a strange message that he put out to the fans, wasn't it? He was doing the old, hey, I'm here, I'm really pleased, can't wait to get started. Genuine, Caroline, or was it more of a, oops, nobody came in for me, so I better start making friends with the Borough fans again?
I think it was probably a bit of both. It was good PR from him.
And you should know.
And I should know because I work in PR. Whether it was from him or whether there was a little bit of nudging behind the scenes from the club, I don't know. The message was right, because we all know how players like Gaston, Ramirez and others are viewed at Middlesbrough and how they reacted to not getting their move. Whether he's here after the January transfer window, who knows? But let's make the most of him, let's support him, he's a class player. Let's get him in the team, let's be behind him while he's here, make the most of him.
He is talented, Phil. we can't get away from that. And apart from Leeds when he sat on the bench, when he's been on the pitch and he's been performing, he's scored goals, he's created opportunities for us. But it's that strange one. I mean, where do you stand on it? Because he didn't want to be here last year. He suddenly came back and embraced everything and put the shifts in. Let's be honest, he didn't down tools at all, but then came out and said, I want to be away again, and it hasn't happened, so he's now here till January. Where do you stand as a fan?
As a fan, for me personally, I find it very hard to want to back a player that wants to leave the club because there's a change of manager, which to a point you can understand. He doesn't think he's going to play where he wants to. He thinks he's going to be used more defensively. He goes out on loan, he doesn't impress, and he wants the move there. He wants that move to, I think it was Bordeaux, made permanent. It didn't happen. They've sent him back. He's come in and he's played 2 or 3 really good games for us. And then all of a sudden, and it's after the fans have sort of said, look, we let you go last season, we didn't really want you to, but we've welcomed you with open arms. And now all of a sudden, because he's heard that there's teams sniffing around, no, I want to go. And I just find that, for me, I find that hard to then just sort of pick myself up and say, yeah, I'll back you again, 3rd time's the charm, let's see what we can do.
Or is it agents behind the scenes who knows?
Yeah, it could be.
Angling for a move to Spain, I think it was, wasn't it, that was moved to Girona and a couple of other clubs. But I think as long as he performs on the pitch, he's still,
that's it. If he gives 100%,
one of ours.
yeah.
Well, the points from you lot are coming in as well, and keep them coming. On Facebook Live, you can message us. Stu Wallace, yes, enjoyed Braithwaite beating Wales. Dave Yandel, can't wait for the next match, another clean sheet. And then he adds, Braithwaite can still do a job for us. Stu Whittingham, if his head's right, he'll be very important to the borough. Massive plus for me. What are your thoughts on Braithwaite and what's happened? Obviously, it's the 2nd time he turned around and said he wants to be away, and now he's going to be here until January. Get your thoughts into us. So, looking ahead. Cracking season, start. First international breaks come along, and suddenly we're now thinking, we've got to get back into the swing of things. I'm still not convinced we're 2nd joint top for some reason in the Championship. I just look at this, it's predominantly the same squad as we had last year, and there's a huge difference in our performance. Do you see us pushing on straight away, Caroline?
I do actually, yes.
Yeah? Continuing?
I think there seems to be a huge difference in the way we're playing, the belief, the teamwork, the motivation. It just, certainly for these first few games of the season, it's all been there. We're probably not the best squad. We're maybe not the 2nd best squad in the league, although I think we're up there. I think we're up there top 6.
Well, as a team, we're obviously 2nd best at the moment.
Exactly, and it's the team, and I think that's the difference. It's the team. 3 at the back, who'd have thought it? But it is working well. He's playing to the strengths of the people he's got, and the ones he's brought in are obviously players that can play to the Pulis mode, although I'm not going down the line of Tony Pulis only ever plays long ball, because I think that's been disproven. Yeah. But players like Flint, Mo Bedic, they will play that way. Lovely to see him back, by the way, but please don't play him at right back after watching the first international against Ireland. I actually can see us pushing on.
I'll get your views on that in a sec, but I'll tell you what, let's catch up just before the break with a bit of social media. Here's Matt.
Thanks, Dave. Let's see what you guys have been talking about on social media, even though there's been an international game this week, but you still have a lot to say about Middlesbrough, so let's see who's saying what. Matt Rowney, you were saying about Hitch and Paddy B, saying Paddy B is doing the job for the mighty borough, pretends to leave to Leeds, bagging us a tasty 10 mil. Make sure he only comes on for the last 5 minutes of games, then waits till there's gullible hopes up to get injured, so he's out for 4 months, top lad. Paul, you said, this is why I love my club at Borough. A little debate full of opinions, which football is all about, but nobody falls out. You're always going to get a small few at any club that are, but the majority agree to disagree. But come to the end, we all want the best for our club. Right, get your social media comments coming into us here at Borough Red Army. Back to you, Dave.
Thanks for that one, Matt. Matt with the social media. He does scan it quite regularly and comes up with a couple of gems. We'll continue this chat about how we're going to launch ourselves ×2 after the international break. But a couple of messages just to rattle out here. Chris Lofthouse, good evening, ladies and gents. Evening, Chris. From a Monday. What else is here? Neil, hi guys. Hi Neil. Stu Gawley told you about how good. Oh, we've had that one, haven't we? Michael Swales, he's got to perform now. to get his move in January up the borough. That's a good point, actually. We're talking Braithwaite here. If he doesn't perform, will he get a move? Good point. Stu Wallace, we've now got another batch of 6 league games before the next break. Let's get behind the lads and preserve our unbeaten run. Dave Yendall, this season we are performing as a team. Hard work pays dividends. Shame we didn't do the same last year. By the flying in, keep them coming in. Peter Mayer, Britt needs to start performing. Winning breeds confidence, says Stu. That's an interesting one, because we do need some more goals out of Britt, don't we, when you think about it? He's putting his shifts in, but he's not getting the break. So put your thinking caps on. More about how we're going to perform once the international break is finished, because that's where we are with that trip to Norwich, and we'll be back with you shortly. Now then, welcome back to part 2 of Red Army. My earpiece is just about to fall out. We were talking just before the break about, do you expect us to continue the same sort of vein of form as we did before the international break? Caroline, you give us your thoughts. Phil, for you, will we keep pushing on as we are, or?
Yeah, I think all of our form, the commitment within the team, the confidence within the team, how we act when we don't have the ball, the positions we get into when we've got the ball, all comes from one person, and I do truly believe that Tony Pulis is one of the best football managers in English football.
He said a few nice things about you yesterday, actually.
Oh, brilliant. I've got him in there then. I genuinely do. I think there's no other manager that I would want at Middlesbrough Football Club right now. I think he's an absolute gem of a guy to get at the club when we've gone for the likes of Sam Allardyce before, and the rest of them. But I do think that he has this energy around him that resonates within the team. So yeah, I do hope that we can push on, and if it's another 6 wins before the next break, and we have to play it in sort of 6 gamely blocks before another international, and that's how we go through the season, then I'm absolutely fine with that.
Do you buy into Tony Pulis?
Definitely.
Yeah?
Yes, absolutely. There's something about him that I think seems to inspire them. I'm sure that I'm wondering if he's a little bit down the lines of the Bruce Rioch Sergeant Major type at times, but there does seem to be something about him that is inspiring them. His fitness regime over in Austria, you can literally physically see in a match that has paid dividends. Some of those guys out there, you said earlier on, it's the same, virtually the same squad. They look like different players. Stuart Downing looks like Stuart Downing when he was getting England call-ups, not Stuart Downing under previous manager who was the fading star who was going to sit on the bench. So yeah, I absolutely do. And I don't buy into, as I said before, any of this nonsense about he only ever plays the long ball. Yes, he likes physical football. Yes, he likes big players. But he's also got guys who can play. And they're playing at tempo. So yeah, I absolutely buy into it. He seems to be a good fit for Middlesbrough Football Club, much more than Aitor Karanka ever was.
If he's so good, why didn't we see, Phil, that instant change, or over a handful of games that change when he came in?
Do you know, I think to the naked eye, no, you probably didn't. But one of the first games, I was sat watching it, and one of the first things I noticed was, under the previous manager, we would get up the pitch and players couldn't get back. And as soon as Tony Pulis came in, he instilled a sort of discipline that every man works for the other man that's next to him, and you could see a clear back 5 when we were defending. Our midfielders were back in line. And it's very much like we were playing table football, or that's how it came across to me. We were moving across together, we were going forward together. So, you know, we didn't score the goals when he first came in, we didn't look pretty, but he made really small changes that when you looked at the squad on the pitch running around, you could actually see where he was going to go, and I think that's evolved game since. And like I said, I'm over the moon that he is at Middlesbrough Football Club.
So here we are, coming out of the first international break. We're second in the league, only not top because of Leeds' goal scoring, and we have held them as well at Elland Road. So
magnificently,
everything's magnificently. We made them look very average, didn't we? So it's all very positive. The run of games, arguably though, now, well, I'd certainly argue, easier than what the last run of games looked when we started the season off.
On paper, absolutely, yes. Norwich haven't had a brilliant start. Bolton have had a lot of turmoil behind the scenes. But unfortunately, we don't play on paper, we play on grass, and you just don't know what's going to happen on the day. But by rights, we should get 10 points. I'd be quite comfortable with 8, but I think we could easily get 10 points out of those 4 games.
We'll look at Norwich in a bit more depth shortly, but Norwich away, Bolton at home, Swansea at home. Obviously, we've got the cup match against Preston to go on our travels, but let's forget the cup for now. What are you expecting out of that lot?
I think we've got I very much agree that it's 10 points minimum, but if we can go maximum points, you know, Bolton I think this week went into administration. They've released a statement, and it was only at this time last year that we beat them. I think it was 3-0 away from home, and a lot of people go on about how amazing that game is, but at the same time last year they were going through financial turmoil then as well. So you know, the players, for them, will they be up for it? We don't know. They're going to be worrying about their own futures as well as the clubs. So it could be Bolton, could be one of these games where they come to us and we absolutely annihilate them. And I think every fan wants to see another Man City score when we beat them 8-1. So if it's not against Norwich, it would be nice to see it against Bolton. If it's not against Bolton, obviously we've got Hull coming up, and I think they're 21st in the league at the minute. So like you said, we have, on paper, arguably, an easier run of games, but like you said, it's you can't judge on paper. It's what you get on the day. I just hope that whatever God's looking over us and saying it's Middlesbrough's chance this year continues to back us from above.
There will come a day when all those chances that we've been missing go in, and somebody feels the brunt of it.
Yeah, and I think it's only a matter of time.
Everybody's confidence, fans and players, a huge boost.
Yeah. Do you see that coming shortly? Because we had a couple of 3-0s and stuff last year, didn't we? You were at QPR, the away game, we did them 3-0.
Absolutely.
We still haven't seen it coming. Bolton, funnily enough, was a 3-0, and they're coming up shortly.
We had Leeds as well, was 3-0 at home. You know, we had Sunderland was 3-3. We've had high scoring games.
But we're still creating the chances.
That's it.
This season, we
talked about Brit.
We're just not putting.
We talked about Brit. We talked about Brit. Can anybody deny he's putting shifts in at the moment? He's running all over, he's holding the ball up. It's not his game, we know it's not his natural game, but he's doing it.
See, I bashed him a lot last season.
Why?
For his, I thought his commitment to the team, his sluggish running. He didn't look nowhere near fit enough to pull off 90 minutes worth of football, let alone 60, 70. But actually, this season he's coming, he looks a lot fitter, he looks hungry. I know it's easy to say that when he's put 3 in against Hartlepool pre-season, but he does look hungry. He looks like a matter of time he's going to score, and it's going to be that Patrick Bamford effect when he first came to us and he scores a goal and he goes through and he scores and scores and scores, and that's what we want. So
I mean, I'd potentially like to see him with a partner. I know that would probably completely muck up poor Tony Pulis's team sheet, but I would love to see him playing off of Jordan Hugill. I'd love to see the two of them play together just to see how it would work.
It's an interesting one because there's been a break. Would you keep the same team as held Leeds at Elland Road at Norwich?
I always say you don't change your winning team, and I know we didn't win.
There's been a big break though.
But surely these players, in everybody's mind, are the players that need to start because they're the ones that are holding free scoring leads to 0-0s. I do agree that I would like to see Britt have a shooting partner. I'd love to see Hugill get his chance, not just on his own, because I do think that Hugill's one of these. He's come to us, he's hungry, he wants to prove to every Borough fan that he is the striker, and I just, it might mess up Tony's formation and whatnot, but it would be nice to see.
Okay. Norwich, we'll come on to that in a second, but just before, we need to have a mention about the Swansea game because the club have got the fan zone back, haven't they, Caroline? Tell us a bit more.
They've got all sorts of fantastic things arranged before and, more importantly, after the game. So, you know, I think for any fans, families, anybody, go the back of the... It's round about Car Park D and just along, isn't it? Yeah. They have all sorts going on. There's a band, I believe, playing live afterwards. There's stalls, there's drinks, there's rides, there's games. I think it's fantastic. It's great to bring families in. And it's Swansea fans. I'm sure they're more than happy for them to join us as well.
And that's before the game and after the game.
Yeah, so don't worry about getting out the car parks or going home, stay back for half an hour.
And enjoy the
entertainment, celebrate 3 points and make the most of it.
Well, that's the Swansea game, but before that we've got to play Bolton. And before that we've got a trip down to Uar. That almost sounded southwest rather than Anglia, didn't it? Norwich. It wasn't a happy hunting ground for us last season, was it?
No, it wasn't. I think going back to what we said earlier on, though, last season there was no direction. There was no confidence. There was no real tactics. This season, it's a new season. We're riding high. Would we be where we are now had we not rescued a point against Millwall first game of the season? The fact is we did. We are riding high. Let's just try and hold on to that as long as we possibly can and just ride this wave through the season and hopefully back up into the Premier League.
Now let's have some predictions then. Caroline, what are you going for against Norwich?
I'm going for a 1-0.
1-0. 1-0 Borough.
1-0 Borough.
Off Brit's backside.
Yeah, that would be nice. To be honest, he needs a goal.
Yeah.
Whatever it comes off his big toe or his backside. Yeah, 1-0 Borough.
1-0 Borough. Where are you with the Norwich game?
I'm going to go with a high score and I'm going to go 3-0.
3-0 Borough?
I think 3-0 Borough, yeah.
Come on, you've been sniffing the barmaid's apron again.
I'm not. I feel optimistic, so I'm not going to say 1-0. I'm going to go 3-0.
I'd be happy with a draw because it's just one of those places I hate going to because they always seem to do us for some reason. But let's go for a 1-0 win. Let's all be positive. We all go for the
Let's
3
all go
goals.
for the win.
Fantastic. Yeah. So thanks for your time. Ladies and gent, I was going to say gents there, lady and gent, thanks for yours too.
Always.
We'll all keep our
Pleasure.
fingers crossed. We'll catch you here very shortly on Red Army. We'd love to have you back, Caroline. And we'll
Anytime.
catch you next week when I'm on a plane to China. I hope it's Mark that's here anyway.